So I'm Jack Horton, and this is my good friend Jorge Ruiz Valdepena. And we both started at Esri, last week, right?
Last week. And we were put to do this in front of everybody.
Right.
Go.
No, it's been a long ride. I think, 86? I think you started 85, I started 86. And we've been hanging out together for a long time, so just forgive us. And we're here to learn something about ArcMap and a few little tricks about how to get the most out of it. So ArcMap does a lot of things, like I'd like to take this session for Excel, right? Because to find out what all that does, right? So, but I can tell you what a lot of this stuff does in ArcMap, and so can Jorge. So we'll kind of go back and forth and show you a few things. Before we get started, I just want to kind of gauge where you guys are at. Just raise your hand if you use ArcMap at least once a week. Okay, I'm seeing a whole bunch of hands. I'm just going to assume that you guys are all pretty familiar with ArcMap already. Does anybody have a favorite trick in ArcMap you'd like to share, like something you found and you thought that was awesome? What's that? The save button, yeah, that's a great one. When I found out about that button, that save button, that changed my life. It seems like I was having to start over all the time. What's that? Bookmarks. Yeah, bookmarks are awesome. In fact, Jorge is going to show us a few little things about working with them. You know how you have to kind of, when you want to redo the bookmark, it's kind of a little inconvenient.
Yeah, we're going to have a guest speaker, and he can come over here and talk about my section on bookmarks.
Oh, good. Yeah, you didn't know you were setting yourself up for that, did you? Yeah, we're going to have you bring on it. Yeah. What's that? Oh, yeah. The Z for zooming. Right. Yeah, I like that one. And you just drag the mouse. In fact, I'll show you that. Yeah. Topologies. Oh, awesome. Yeah, we're not going to do that in here, but they're great. I mean, to keep your lines lined up. Yeah, you had one. No? Okay. I had one here. Oh, the layer from selected features. Anybody do that one, layer from selected features? Oh, yeah, that's awesome. It's like, so you're not stuck with having to manage your selection set, and then you accidentally clear your selection, and you go, oh, man. Yeah, just throw it into a layer. Yeah, that's a cool one. In fact, I'll show you guys that one. Let me just show you a couple things. Let's start off with the zooming in and out. I find zooming in and out to be a little inconvenient sometimes because I got to go up here. Oh, were we going to go? Let's do maybe the slide. We have slide and everything. Yeah, so we're going to do this as just 4 demos. And I'll show you a few things about map navigation and some things about working with map layers. And then Jorge will work with us on data sources and also like fixing your map documents in efficient ways, and also labeling, getting your labels right using Maplex, and then he'll work with bookmarks and show you a few tricks about using with bookmarks and manipulating your scales. Then I'll show you some things about map books. I'm kind of curious, who's used dynamic data-driven pages to make map books? Okay. Whole bunch of you, I'd say about half, so sorry. You can go sleep for that part. Maybe I can show you a couple of tricks about that you haven't learned yet. And then Jorge will show us a few things you can do with some of the windows in ArcMap. So let me just do a little bit of zooming first. So I guess when you're going to zoom, should I actually show my screen for this? Okay, let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Okay, so here's a map, and so to zoom, you come over here on the tools toolbar, and you grab this one, right? And then you're in the middle of something else, and you have to change tools, right? And you come over, and maybe you grab this one and the pan and so on. Well, you zooming and panning, you do it so much, it'd be nice to just have it where you don't, so you can just use the mouse wheel. Like I'm just rolling the mouse wheel. I bet most of you guys know that one, right? Representative know the mouse wheel trick? Yeah, okay. So, sorry, you already knew that. How about depress the mouse wheel into the carriage and then just drag it over? Yeah, pretty cool, huh? You can do that too. Your mouse wheel pushes. You push the wheel down into the carriage, and you can pan. Another one I think is kind of handy is some of these keys. Like, let's say, for example, I was doing identify, and clearly identify on a raster layer is not very interesting, but at least it works. So what I want to do is I'd like to do the marquee zoom or the drag a box zoom, and I don't want to go up and grab that tool. See my eye, I'm using identify. So I can actually do the Z. I think this is what you were telling me about a second ago there. I'll just hold the Z key down, and then I'll just drag a box and zoom in. And if you want to zoom out, you can hold the X key down and drag a box and zoom out. And one of my favorite is the B. I have no idea why B, but it's the continuous zoom. And what does B have to do with what I'm doing here? B, I don't know. I'm bouncing. Right, I'm bouncing in and out. Right, thank you. All right, so I'm just dragging my mouse up and down while holding the B key, and I'm doing that. Okay, so that's pretty handy, the B, the X, and the Z. And you do that while you're using any other tool. That's pretty handy, I think. Now, another thing is that you can speed up your use of the table of contents. Like here, I'm going to turn on all these layers, so I'll turn on the Lake Sano, and I'll turn on this one, and I'll turn on this one, and I'm kind of getting tired of clicking all these things. So I'm going to hold the Control key down, and I'll just click on one of them, and then they'll all turn on. And if I hold the Control key down and click on one of them, then they'll all turn off. So in general, throughout the software, play around with the Shift and the Control keys when you're manipulating any kind of list. And it's not always exactly the same. Like sometimes you hold the Shift key down to get like the next 4 or 5 or something. Sometimes you Control for each one. But just play with Control and Shift, and it'll speed you up on this stuff. So what about, another way to zoom in and out that I kind of like to do, I guess I need to turn on some layers, is the magnifier window. I don't know if you've used this one before. It's pretty cool. It just brings up a little window that you can magnify with. Just get on to where you want to go. And that's zoomed in a little far. Let's take it out to, say, just like 300 or something. And you can make the window a little bigger if you'd like. And you can even do like your editing and stuff inside of this window. Now, you probably noticed these zoom in and out tools. I kind of embarrassed myself the last time I demonstrated this, and I discovered these tools didn't work, right? Like I'm trying to get up here and do the zoom in and out. Well, these tools actually don't work when you're in zoom mode, but there's this interesting thing you can do with this. You can actually go over here and turn your magnifier window into a viewer. And then what happens is it no longer is a magnifier. It's now its own separate little viewer. And now these tools work. So I could, for example, zoom out in my viewer and so on, or zoom in my viewer. And here I'll pan in the viewer and so on. Okay, so that's the trick to that if you've run into that little issue. Okay, another thing is your scales. You know, you can set something called a reference scale. So notice every time you zoom in or out, you get a scale. And Rory's going to show you some more stuff about scale, but I want to show you one thing I like called the reference scale. So this map, when I zoom it in, you see how big and fat those lines are? And it just, like, it's crazy. And when I zoom out, they get so skinny you can't hardly see them. Okay, well that's because this map has a reference scale set. And if I want to find out what it is, I can just right-click and zoom to the reference scale. So I get a reference scale, I can zoom to it. And in this case, it takes me up to 1 to 250,000. That is the scale at which all these symbols look right, according to like when this map was made. So you don't have to set a reference scale. If you clear your reference scale, now what happens if I zoom way in, the symbols keep redrawing at like the right size for that reference scale, right? For the whatever this scale is, right size for that scale. Now, what this is useful for is editing annotation and so on, so you can control what 12 points means on the map at that scale. What it's also really useful for is making a map that looks right at the appropriate distance. So have you ever been to a public presentation where somebody brought a map up and they put the map on an easel at the front of the room? And you're sitting back halfway through the crowd, you're like in the middle of the room, and you're looking at the map, and you see a white sheet of paper that probably has a map on it. Anybody ever experienced that? right? And they're talking about all this stuff on the map, and the presenter can see it just fine, but you can't because the lines are so skinny. Well, if you're going to make a map to go to the front of the room, you could go into your map and you could fatten out every symbol by hand, right? I mean, go in here and go to the roads layer and go to symbology and properties of all symbols and make them wider, right? You know about that little trick, right-click, properties of all symbols. And then like go for a bigger width or something. Well, you don't have to do that. Just set a reference scale. So what I'll do is I'll like zoom out some, and then I'll set my reference scale. And I come down to reference scale, just set it. And now when I zoom in, what you can see is it was made to work at that zoomed out scale. When I zoom it in, now I'm like putting a magnifier on the map, right? You can see how that works. So now this map you can see at the back of the room. And so it's easy to do. Just set a reference scale that's appropriate for the viewing distance, basically. And so that's a nice little trick right there. Let's look at our symbols. I've got these little green triangles for mountain peaks. And I guess that's fine, but if this is mapped for public consumption or something, I might want to have a cuter symbol for mountains. So how about I just double click that symbol and find a symbol that looks like a better mountain. Well, gosh, I don't see any here. How about I go to my style references and I'll go, well, gosh, what do I got in here? How about, I got a lot of those. How about Civic? Are there any mountain symbols in Civic? So I'll go in here and now I get more symbols and so on. Well, another thing you can do is just go up here and search for the word mountain. And it's going to show you in 3D trees, we have some mountains. In ArcGIS Explorer symbols, we have some mountains. In this, whatever you say that one, we have some mountains and so on. And here under Civic, we have a couple of mountains and conservation and so on. So I can just pick a mountain. And, these are all the symbols that have the word mountain in them somehow. So there's my cute little mountains. Okay, you can also build your own symbols. Raise your hand if you built a symbol before, built your own. Oh, about a fourth of you guys, cool. So it's easy enough to do. So let's say I don't want to use those mountain symbols, I'll use something else. So what I can do is just edit my symbol. And notice I have lots of different kinds of symbols. This is a picture marker symbol where you provide an icon. You can also do a character marker symbol. And this is pretty popular, and it uses fonts. So these fonts have these weird characters in them, right? So this is Esri default marker font. But you could use any font on your system. So I could bring up a text font of some sort and build symbols out of it as well. Whatever you want. So what the heck, I'll do it. I mean, we'll find something kind of cute. How about that one, whatever that is? So that's so then, oops, I shouldn't hit OK. So I choose that. It puts it there. And I can control the size of it. I'll make it bigger. And then maybe I want to make another layer on it. So I'll add a layer to it. And let's go to make how about a little circle. And let's make that circle bigger. And whatever, let's make it yellow, I guess. And so now it needs to be bigger. And so now I have a yellow circle that obliterates the other one. So I'll just grab this and move it up. And so now I have the yellow circle over that. That yellow circle is not showing at all. I'll pick another color, something darker. Okay, and I'll stop messing around with it. Anyway, you can see I'm just building up the symbol out of layers. And now that's the symbol I have for my mountains. Okay, so you can build symbols out of characters pretty easy and stack them up multiple layers and control their sizes and so on and like that. One last thing, I'd like to show you something about layers. If I go to, say, another map document here, this is out of a map document from the Local Government Information Model. If you download it, there's about 250 megs of stuff you downloaded to get this data and a bunch of other stuff with the model. And anyway, so this is from Naperville, Illinois. And if you look at this, you can see buildings here. And when I zoom out, the buildings go away. And so I've got scale dependency here. I think you've probably seen this sort of thing in base maps and so on. Well, you can do the same thing. And the way we did it was just by having the layers here at different scales. So right now we're at the 1 to 4,000. I'll zoom out and I'm at the 1 to 18,000 and you can see that, right? So these things right here are actually map layers, but when I look at the properties of them, they actually are group layers, right? So I've got the general property of like scale range and, you know, my transparency and so on, but this is actually a bunch of additional layers. So if I go to one of these layers like railroad and like double click it, then it's showing me now all the stuff about railroad and where it came from and so on, and you know. So these are group layers. They're layers that are collections of other layers. And each of them has a scale range. Each group layer has the scale range assigned. So this 1 to 18,000 has a scale range right here of, you know, this range that is optimal for 1 to 18,000. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is look at how these group layers kind of, how you can sort of make your own. So how about I take this one, I'll right click, I'll make a new group layer, and I'll just call it something like all. And now I'm going to select all these layers. So I guess I have to do them all individually, right? How about I just hold the shift key down after doing the first one, I get all those. And I'm going to drag them up into my all layer. See how now they're indented underneath it there? Okay, so now this layer called all, I can turn the whole thing off and on. And I could maybe collapse that so I just see all here. So now I have a group layer that's a collection of group layers. You can nest them as deep as you want. So let me find a scale at which I have buildings. Let's say I'm right at this scale, that's pretty good. And maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. There's some buildings right there. Now I'll go out some. Okay, how about to here? Okay, I like that scale for buildings. So that's the 1K buildings. Let me open that up. And I've got buildings in here. I'm going to just copy these out. And I'm going to paste that layer in as its own separate little layer. Okay, I'm going to turn all off. And now all I see is these building footprints. And you see how they take a little while to draw? And if I zoom out some, where they should have been turned off because, you know, they're too small or whatever, they're taking even longer to draw. You see what's happening here? And it doesn't get any better when you draw the same area the second time. So there's a little trick called the base map layer. I'm going to right click here on my data frame. I'm going to make a new base map layer. And I'm going to drag my building footprints in there. But before I do it, let me show you my properties. So notice the building footprints layer here has all these properties, right? Display and symbology and definition query and all this stuff, right? I'm going to drag building footprints into my base map layer. And now it redrew that, but let me show you my properties. They're almost all gone. I've just got the general properties for scale range, and that's it. I don't have anything else. Until I take it out of the base map layer, and then I'll have my properties back. So the reason is it's caching this. It can't let you change the color or anything about it because it's storing what it looks like. So notice when I come up here, you see how it's taking a little while to draw, but now when I go back, it's going to, see, first time it takes a little while to draw, but now as I pan around, it doesn't, right? So you can see now it's all nice and quick and continuous, and the reason is it's cached. It's just an image in memory at this point. So all your wallpaper, you know, that you can just take that and make a group layer out of it. So one last thing I want to show you is saving out layer files. I could, for example, take this nice all layer that I have. Let's save it out as a layer file. And you can also save as a layer package. A layer package has the data packaged up with the description. A layer file is just the description. It points at the original data. So I'll just do a layer file. And let's put it somewhere where I'm going to find it. How about I'll put it up in my temp folder or something. And I'll just call it all.layer. That'll be fine. So save that. And so now if I just like do a new map document, and let's say I've spent all this time getting this big multi, layer thing going on, right? It's got all this scale dependency and I've did all this careful work. Somebody else wants to use that. well, they can just go grab my layer file and pull it on. So here's my temp folder, and I should have all.layer in here somewhere. There it is. So I'll just drag it on, and boom. Well, as soon as I agree to my spatial reference, there we go. It's on there. I got to zoom to something. I would just zoom to this layer, and we're back with all that stuff, all the scale dependency and everything. So it's a great idea to just make layer files, and they can be groups or not, and have people get to the data through layer files. And that's what I had to show you. Jorge, it's yours. Yeah.
So that's it.
That's okay. Are we all done?
You're done.
I'm done. But you have something to do.
So soon?
Right.
Oh, that's great. Well, we have some good things from Jack, and navigating shortcuts and working with layers, all the little things that you saw here, and really is some tips that we can give you. And I think for the second part, we have a little workflow here, talking about repairing the data sources of your layers, different options that we have. And then we jump a little bit and give you some tips about working with labels, and especially looking at the expressions that you can use, and also how you can create classes, and what would be the easiest way to create several label classes, and how you can allocate the groups of features that satisfy one of your classes. And after that, we're going to talk and review very quickly about booking the map book, the bookmarks, and the scales, and Jack just ruined half of my scale talk to you, because I wanted to show you those different, if you want to mimic the same thing that you do with RGS Online. Well, we get into that one, definitely. Let's see, and let's start by looking at which one we have. And well, talk about the problem that everybody has, right? You see that you have your exclamation marks. How many times that happened to you? All the time. And obviously you know how to fix this. The first one way to do it, how do you do it? The easiest one. Well, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have several layers here, and then if you know what is a good tip to switch from one data frame to another? You know what is if you press the Alt key.
That's ALT.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, ALT. And then click on it. That's it. That's how you switch between data frames. And then we have several data frames with features. And you can do one by one. Obviously, you have probably you're thinking, Jorge, that's a good one, because we right click on it, go to the properties. So I mean, if you know where your data is, you want to start repairing the data sources. Right? And with one of the tips that you want, because you need to remember, sometimes you change the name of your feature classes when you bring them into the layer to keep track with the sharing with public. So now you know when you look at the source, it will remember where is the location of your features and what is the name of your features that you're looking for. So you have the name of the feature class, shapefile, the cat data, and then the location. So that's where you set the data source. So now we have 2 places that you can do that. We have another one. The third one is going to be by clicking in the exclamation mark. When you click there, and that starts, just set up the data source. But what will be the last one, the fourth one? You know another way to do it? The other way to do it will be that if we take advantage of, how many of you work with Python or know ArcMap? Okay, now this is a good time for you to start diving into Python, because automation and the way that we are heading with ArcMap is just for your processing. But we have, if you look very carefully here, what we have is this mapping. So mapping module get you into working with your MXD documents and your layouts, and you can do a lot of changes and updates and customizations by running the ArcMap, and it's embedded in your ArcGIS for desktop. So you don't need to be in Python and then try to see what the changes are when you're running this. So there is one of the keys that we have here, and so let's see if, let's do this for. So we take advantage of having a mapping module, and the functions that you have inside will be, maybe you want to, first, let me open the other one, fix links here. Set up the connection, where is the link to your folder where all your data is. Set up the workspace, and let's make sure that we set up the workspace and we share this, we comment this line. And after that, you want to set up the location of your MXD, so it's going to be set a variable to the MXD, and this one we need to set it up as a comment. And where it's located, you point out to the fixed links MXD, the one that I was showing you previously with all the broken links. And then you run a tool to make a list of all your broken links or missing data sources and put it into a list. And we want to know, or you want to know, if there are features or there are layers with broken links. And so you print out what is the content of your list, and you start a conditional statement that if there is items in the list, then we're going to start a loop. So you go to the loop and iterate through every layer or every item in the loop, and use the function replace data sources on the layer. So that's how you can do this. And then just give it the location. The new data sources location is now at this after folder, and it happened that we are working with shapefiles, so you will give it if you are working with feature classes for your database, you just need to change, instead of shapefiles, you're going to put feature classes. And after that, you're going to do a save a copy so we can see the before and after. In that way, you will believe me that it works. And we will check on the broken links. So there is a fix that the name of that output, which we call it now links fix. It doesn't exist, so that's a good validation for you. And the only thing you have to do, you were here earlier, and then you decide, I give you a name, maybe we can be let's just put it the users. The users are awesome, because you are here listening to us. So that's the best thing. And then what we're doing is we run the script, and it's working. And one of the things about working with Python is the scripted language goes from the top to bottom, and it reads the last line that was in the execution of your program. Let's see, we can find out how we can make this one. What is to see the results.
Oh, you just need to bring up the window on the bottom, I think.
Which window?
Tabs on the bottom, I think.
This one. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jack. See, that is better. Yeah. Uh-huh. So that's the list of all your broken layers and data sources, and then you get the message. So everything works fine. The only thing that we have to do is to navigate to our folder where we have, look at this, now links work, and we'll double click on it. And let's see what happened when you bring that up. And taking a little bit. So I think ticky. That's what we get for opening. Maybe next time we're going to have a different, we can move to another, that works. Right? So everything works fine. And I don't know what happened if we look at if we do the Alt or ALT, we fix this, and also not just go through one data frame, but you have several data frames. Obviously, all these layers belongs to the same workspace. So that's what it fixes everything that is in ArcMap. So that's one of the things that you can do, and automation is great if you can have this. And the last thing they're going to, maybe you're going to say, well, what about if I have I want to do it with other MXDs? Well, we just revisit this feature here, and one thing that you can do is maybe convert all these into parameters that you have here. Remember that I can convert this into an argument, and then you break this. You make, oh no, that's the override output. And you have the get parameters as text. That's what you're going to do. And that's going to be your workspace. And the other get parameters as text is going to be your MXD. And something that we have to make sure is that there is a variable for the MXD. And now your MXD is working fine. So there's something going on here that it doesn't recognize it. So maybe this dot in here, now it works fine. So once that you set up, it indicates that you want to run your script as a tool inside of your ArcMap. On your ArcMap. So we go to the fixed links here, and you do this. There is where we are, the broken links. That's where the before and after. You have what you need to create a custom toolbox, and there is your script that when you look at double click on it, now you have your workspace and broken MXD, and you can navigate to it, and you can fix it. So there's something that you can do with that. Okay. So that's. You want me to run it, Jack? You want to see if it works? We'll see if it works, and then, let's navigate to the workspace that we have before, and we have to go to the broken links, and it was this one here. We add that. It's taken, or it goes to there. The broken MXD, we'll navigate to the broken MXD with fixed links. And remember that it's going to create a new MXD, so we add this. Probably the good idea is to delete, or no, we need to close that MXD. What is the MXD now? Erase one here. We close this one so it's not locked, and we don't want to save the changes as part of it. And let's just in here, just delete that one. So it is. I haven't run it, so this is all good for you, because now back into your ArcMap. For your fixed links, where you have your tool, you run it, and it succeeded. So that's what we got. That was too fast, don't you think?
Well, my scripts always run the first time, too.
I was amazed that it worked through you. So let's see what are we having here. And there's the now links, and it's back again. Well, that's one of the things. Well, this thing is drawing, so you can, if you customize, if you create your script, you can fix all the links. Yesterday, there was one gentleman that came, and they're running an application that they make a list of all the broken links and find the paths to all this, put it into the spreadsheet, corroborate that this is the correct path. So we have the before and after, and run it again. So all this automated into a Python script. So definitely there are good tools for you to work with this, and it works fine. Now you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say one thing that's really nice about this. You're looking at that script and going, man, how do you know to do that? Well, the basis of that script is right in the documentation. You just copy and paste it out of there. There's several different scripts for fixing broken links that are right in the doc. You just copy, paste, start tweaking it, and away you go.
Definitely. Well, now let's jump into a quick way to work with some of these features. Let's see, I have another. Now we fix this, we fix position and text. This is the one that we are working with this now. And So we have the parts here, and we can make an insert. We can insert here a new data frame, because I'm going to show you how you can select the parks. We're going to call these copy parks, and on the data frame, we're going to bring this in paste as a copy paste layer. So we have the layers. You can see there is some labeling here. We're going to change the labeling into a different field. Click on labels, come to park's name. We're going to use the city name. And we say, okay, then you realize, then you look like, oh, look at that text that we have here. It's all in uppercase, and that really doesn't look too good when we are labeling our features. What about if we need to change the casing of these, make it proper names instead of just all uppercase? Well, one way to do that, or the way to do it, is to go to the properties again. In this situation, you will create an expression, and here is your expression right now. You see this using the city name. Well, that's what and down here, you have different parsers, so you can write expressions. There are two ways to do this. I'm going to show you the other two ways that you can work with the data that you have, or just create a Python expression. The expression, you delete this. Obviously, you can write it down when you say Python, but then you need to click in advance. That's what the system, what the software is saying. Okay, get me the function that you want to run, and obviously we're going to load a function that we already have prepared for you, and the function is it's a way to say that you're going to define a function on this field and set a variable for the field, make it, and use one of the Python functions on that object dot title, change it. So make that title, and then just return the S, which is the variable that we're setting up here, and that will make the work for us. Well, once that we do that, and you verify it and look at the results. So that's going to be good. You do the clicking in here, you do the OK, and now you're change all the labels right away into using the expressions. So that worked for us. Maybe now we can forget about this one here, and we go back to the layers. Let's work with the streets. You want to symbolize, you want to use labels for your streets. Something that I want to bring your attention to this, that you already work on the symbology. You want to have all the local streets with this symbol, and all the major streets with the red symbol. So you have the gray and the red, and now you want to label those. How are you going to do it? So instead of going to the properties as I did before, you can bring up the labeling toolbar. And the labeling toolbar, you can start, number one is that you can modify. You can better if you changed your engine to the Maplex engine. By default, you get if you right click on the data frame and go to the properties, on the general, at the bottom of the list, you get the two engines. By default, you get the standard. Now you have the Maplex. So that's another quick view of where these things are coming. So we minimize that. Let's do the Maplex before, and everything changed. A lot of functionality. Clicking here, but you want to label based on this symbology that you have here, but you don't have it in here. And the trick for you is going to be click on the layer name, and you will see that the system picks your two symbology, the two types of symbols that you are using. If you click in Add, it will tell you that you want to override the existing labeling classes. We only want the default. We're going to say yes. Now you have two label classes in here, and it's time for you to start working on how are you going to display that text. Let's just give it a nice color. Which color do you like? Something nice. Well, let's make it orange. And also you can maybe change the font size so you can visualize that. There is going to be the position. You can work on offset. If it's curved, you do the OK. And let's just do it the OK. Something that I forgot to do is to tell you that when you have this, you have to come over here and then you have to enable. We don't want to see parks anymore, but you have to enable the street. The label manager is awesome because you can get everything in front of you. And you can just do the work here. And ArcGIS, we do the OK, and there are all the symbols. Now, if we look very carefully, inside of here, there's some black text. So what happened is that when you do this, when you work on the setting up these two expressions by importing them from the symbology, the system also recognizes that you have two classes with two different features. If you look into let's work on the measure, and the measure is going to be larger. Let's make it 12, and maybe change the font. I don't know, there are so many fonts here. They use maybe Kandara, that's not something, well, let's leave, no, that's sans serif. We need something serif. Which one is going to be serif? Well, okay, that one looks good. And you have it there, change the color. We're going to make it nice and, well, that's red. Something with blue, we don't want to use blue. Let's use the dark green. And after that, look at it. You go to the SQL query. When you get to the SQL query, the system already created the function for you. So you're saying, for this class, show me only value number 2. And if you say the OK here and the OK here, now you see that we have when you zoom in into this area, that's where you get these values here. Yeah? So that's how you can make the separation and work with the fonts. But the other thing is that you have only one. Here you are showing only that you have one item or one field. What about if you want to show more fields? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is that you come over where you have the field, now its name, and you delete that, select the one that you want to use, that's going to be prefix, let's put it this way, and then you click on append. Select name and click append, and the system keeps track of your syntax. You want to do it with the VB script, but then if you switch to Python, I'm probably sending the message that switch to Python because Jack already mentioned to you. If you go to the help documentation, the only examples that you're going to have, the snippets, will be all written in Python.
Right.
So that's one of the things that we want to tell you here. And it's Python, and we do the same thing. There's the prefix, we append this, the name, you append, and now you have the right different syntax so that you keep track. You are programming now. So I'm a good programmer. See, I'm just doing this, and I know how to program another function. If we verify the function, now you have concatenated all these different items in one label. Do the OK, and with the OK here, and we do the other OK here, and now everything looks nice, and so you have all the data that you want and require for you to show. Right? So that is the other thing that we have here. We're talking about bookmarks. So maybe tell me if I'm wrong. Don't come over here, but tell me if I'm wrong. If you do it differently, working with bookmarks, definitely you can create your bookmarks, create and navigate to one of the places, zoom in to one area here, and we're going to create a bookmark here. And that's you can go on and visit different places. But also you can do that once, then you come to the bookmarks and you manage the bookmarks. You can create Okay? But also you can save. So once you have all the bookmarks that you want, you can save it into a file. And later on, when you come back and you need to work in a conference like this, and you want to show off how much you know about bookmarks, you load them. And that's your setting up. You click on it. They are now added to your bookmark list. You close the manager, and now you can navigate to any one of these bookmarks that are already there. Suddenly you go to one and say, well, actually, this is too, what I have here, I can now even see the park where we have the bookmarks. Well, let's change the extent so it will be, we'll see how we can go to that place. We see other streets. Okay, now we know where the park is clear and we have the streets. We know where to go, Jack. If you want to go to the park, have a picnic.
All right.
Well, go to the bookmarks again, manage your bookmarks, right-click on that bookmark that you just modified, and update the extent. There you go. Click on it, go back to another, well, maybe go back all the way out, and let's zoom in back to the 29, and you updated your bookmark. You don't need to delete them, and you don't need to update it again. So those are the little things that we have about bookmarks. It is good. I like that. And last, we're going to talk about your scales. When you deal with scales, again, you go to the customize. Everything goes to the customize. I'm talking with Jack. Oh, Jack, how are you doing? And look at this. Oh, and you deleted all your bookmarks, all the scales that you have here. Well, you always can come to the load button. And if you're going to the map that you are creating, you're going to move it as a web map into the ArcGIS Online, and you're going to mash up this with Google or Bing Maps. Well, you just go there. I think Bing Maps is obsolete. No?
I think it's still there. You need a license for it, though, so why bother?
Yeah, but Microsoft, I think, is dropping all these map things. Well, and there you go. So this is what I was going to tell you, but Jack went ahead and beat me up for being first, because that's where creating all these group layers with all different reference scales, that's what we have here. So you can zoom in and zoom out the same way that we do it in other places. We delete all, and now you can load from file, and now you customize the way that you want to work with your scales. There you go. You can navigate and do that. And we delete all again and go back to the defaults, and we are all happy. Obviously, you know that you can create your own. You can type in, you can create and add your own scales. And also, you can set up some formats to this. You can do the 1 inch to a mile, a kilometer, whatever you want to show. But the idea is that we support that nomenclature in here. If you want to do 1 inch is going to be equal to 1 mile. You know what is the reference fraction? Jack, you know that.
I do, right.
You want to tell them? Somebody knows that. What is
remember the magic number, 1 inch to a mile scale? The 1 to 63, 360. Ever wonder why that some of those maps are 1 to 63, 360? Where'd they come up with that?
There you go. So that works. If you want to, you can, if you have that type of verbal scale that you want to use, you can do it to 1 inch equal to 1 mile. And I don't know if it is 1, but let's make sure that it's a 1. And there's a mile. And we hit enter, and that was the 1 to 60. That wasn't a mile, Jack. So it was 1 inch equal to 2,000 feet. You click that, and it goes to 24,000. And you can keep going like that. So you can type in your verbal scale, and in that way you can figure out what is the what about the one more, and then I'll let Jack talk. He's dying for talking. Equal to 1, and let's say 100 feet. You don't know that one, Jack.
1 inch equal 100 feet?
Yeah, you don't know that one.
Yeah, it's 1 to 1200.
Oh, gee.
I can do the math.
Uh-oh, recognize.
The 63, 360 you got to memorize. But.
So that will be 1 inch equal, are you sure? To 100 feet, right? That's the right nomenclature. We do the heat. Yeah, you're right. Well, you're the winner, Jack.
All
so
right.
therefore now
Okay.
you
I can multiply by 12.
okay. I give you the.
All right. Okay, let's do it. Why don't you show the PowerPoint if you could and show what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something in map books. And a bunch of you guys have done map books. And so if you've already learned how to do map books, that's great. But maybe I can show you a couple things that you haven't seen about them. And I want to do this pretty quickly. It's really pretty simple. So let me just show you. I'll show you how to keep track of your page numbers and how to do some other dynamic text as well. So are we seeing, is it this one? There we go. Okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, so this same map I was working on before, and what I'd like to do is make a map book out of it. And so I'll first go to layout view. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have been to layout view before. And if you can see, I've got the two data frames here. I've got this one, overview, and I've got this one, San Juan, which is the bigger one. And so what I'd like to do is have this map show like one of each of these 4 squares. And so what I need to do is somehow use those squares to do it. So if we look at those, here, let me just turn off all my layers and just turn on just the index. So this is just a map that has 4 polygons. It happens to be zoomed in so you don't see it all. And each of those polygons has some attributes. And those attributes are a page name, like A1, A2, B2, and so on. And then also it's got the information about what page name is to the north and to the northeast and so on. So, and these all got created automatically by a couple of nice little tools in the toolbox. And you don't have to build it yourself. You can if you want. I mean, you just need to come up with polygons somewhere. So, so in the system toolboxes, if you look in here under the cartography tools, you got the map book stuff. It's called data-driven pages. And this one, strip or grid index features, is the one I ran to create the 4 cells. And you get to control how many cells you want or how big they're going to be. A tip here, before you hit OK on this tool, it will sort of internally calculate how many cells you're going to end up with. Make sure that's a reasonable number. It's easy to drop a 0 or something and try to create a gazillion cells. So, you know, just look at what you ended up with. And then after you create those, this other tool called calculate adjacent fields will actually pop those adjacent fields in for the north and south and so on. And so that all got created just by these 2 tools. Build it yourself if you want. Another one in there that's kind of nice is the strip map. So the strip map index features follows a river or something, and it would just do a series of maps, not like all gridded out, but following a linear feature. At any rate, somehow you end up with a polygon feature class, and we want to use that to drive the mapping. So first, let's go ahead and put a few things on our map to make a pretty map, and then we'll figure out how to make a map book out of it. So the first thing I want to do is insert how about a title on my map? And I got a title, and that's kind of interesting. The title, if we look at it, is actually, you know, kind of already built in. Anybody have any idea how that happened? I mean, how come didn't I have to type the title in? I mean, I didn't type it in. Yeah, somebody's seen that, a map document properties, right? So I go in here, and under the properties, I have the title right here, and whatever that title is what you're going to get. So I'll, you know, just add something in here just to prove it. So there's a bunch of X's, and so now those X's show up here. And so what you really get, if you look at this, is something called dynamic text. So you see how it says dyne type, document, and property is title. So it gets the title property out of the document, and that's how dynamic text works. There's a bunch of other dynamic text I found useful. So like if I go here under insert, like I'm going to insert things like my text, notice I can also insert dynamic text of various types. My two favorite ones, I think, are the current date. That's the date the map document got created. So it puts that on there, and I'll also insert, how about the dynamic text for the map document path name. Document path. And so those two, if you stick those on there, just kind of make it a habit. The date will tell you how out of date that map is, and the path will tell you where it came from. So actually, I guess I even need to use more zooming tools than that, but you can see it if you can't really read it, but that's a path name. And it's right at the bottom. So you ever have somebody come up to you and say, I want another map just like this one? And they hold you this piece of paper or something, and you say, well, where'd you get that? I'm not sure, but I want one like this. Well, if it says that on there, if you got the path name, here, I'll just use the zooming tools in the layout. And if you've got that, now you know where it is. You can go get it. Okay, so there it is. Okay. So now what I'd like to do is actually build my map out of that. So I'll maybe insert a whatever scale, a north arrow. I mean, if you don't put a north arrow, somebody's going to ask for one. So what the heck, you may as well. And I'll insert, say, a scale bar. One nice thing about this, by the way, is they're tied to the current data frame. They're called map surrounds. And so as you zoom the map in and out, the scale bar will be appropriate. And you can control the size of the font basically by controlling the height of the scale bar. So anyway, I'll just stop messing around with my map here, and let's go ahead and enable data-driven pages now. So what I'm going to do is bring up the data-driven pages toolbar. And on this toolbar, you get to say how you're going to do it. And it's going to do it on the active data frame, which is this one, San Juan. And in this data frame, I really don't need the index layer to show to be able to use it, but I would like to turn on all the other layers. So I'll just control and turn one on. It should turn them all on. And I'll just turn off the, you don't have to be looking at the index in order for this to work. So now what I'll do is I'll go in here and I'll enable the data-driven pages, and the layer I'm going to use to drive it from will be the index layer. Even though it's not visible, it can still drive the data-driven pages. And then I can specify my name, and my name field will be page name. That's the A1, B2 thing. And then I can also do extent. I like to generally not overlay my maps. Personally, I like to have them just be 100%. 125 is the default, where like each page will overlay by 25% the next one, which is nice, and you can do whatever you want with that, but I'll just do it without overlays. So here we go. So now I've got data-driven pages enabled. It's just done. So notice all I have to do is just next through this thing, and it puts me on different pages. But it's kind of hard to tell which page you're on, right? So what I can do is go in here and have a little extent indicator just under properties, not of San Juan, but I'll do the properties of the overview data frame. And in here you have the extent indicator. And I'll just pull over the data frame of San Juan, its extent will be indicated on this map. And you can change the color if you want. By default, it does it in red. So now, as you can see, as I step through my data-driven pages, it will also step through like a little red box to show me which one it goes with. So that, I think, makes them pretty useful. Then you can also insert dynamic text. So I go in here, and how about I insert under dynamic text, I'll insert the page name. And so data-driven page name. So just put that little A1 right there, and I'll put that up here and make it bigger so you can see it. And maybe I'll make it way big. Okay. So now it's saying that's page A1. So now as I step through my pages, you can see it's A2 now, and now it's a B1 and B2. So you can play around with that stuff. You can also use adjacent page numbers. So whatever the field is called, you can put them in there. So let me see what the field's actually called. I'll look at the table for index. And it's called page name underscore followed by the direction. So like PAGENAM underscore W. So I got to remember that. And so let's just copy this and paste it and take our other one. And this one, I'm going to change its property. See, instead of page property name, it's going to be PAG. Was there an underscore? I think, was there? Underscore name? Underscore W, was that what it was? I think I got it wrong. We'll see. It won't display if I got it wrong. Well, maybe I did get it right. Okay, let's see. So empty is not a problem, but it is a problem if you get it every time. And so, okay, so I did spell it wrong. So we'll go in here and we'll find out. It's PAGENAM underscore W. So I screwed it up in two different ways. Okay, PAGENAM underscore W. Maybe only one way. Okay, so there, now it works. So now it's showing you the adjacent page, B1, and so as I scroll through, it will show you. Now it'll be empty when, there's no page there, but when there is, it'll show you. And I could, of course, do that for all the other sides just by copying and altering it a little bit. In the interest of time, let me just push this out to a PDF and see what we get. So what I'll do is I'll just export my map. And let's put it somewhere where I can find it. How about under temp folder, maybe? And I'll call it San Juan 08. Sure, let's go with that. And so it's exporting that out to a PDF. And I don't remember if I told it to do all of the pages or not. Let's just do that real quick. Double check. And under pages, no, I want to do all 4 pages. So I'll export it again. And now let's go try to find it. And it'd be under my D drive, under temp. And it's going to be called san108.pdf. Is that today's date? Yes, it is. Okay, so that's it. Okay, and so now I have a PDF with all the pages. And there you go. You send that to the printer and you got your map book. All right. So, Jorge, it's up to you now. I'm done.
Do I have... You are done.
I'm done. Yeah, you can actually have a few minutes to do some Windows stuff.
He does it all the time to me. Yesterday he ate all the time, so I was prepared for not doing anything in the second part. Now he has plenty of time for me. Okay, let's see what I can tell you in the next few minutes that we have left. It is about your. Just looking into some of the windows that you have here, the results window. Have you used the results window before? Yeah? You use it, well, we get to that one. I will ask you. The Python window. Well, you were not, obviously you mentioned it that you were not into automation or using scripting. And what about the image analysis window? How many of you work with rasters? Raise your hand. And have you used your image analysis window? We have that for you and for the other ones. Maybe you get the kick and start working with your rasters. And that's one of the things that we're going to do here very quickly. So you have your image that you bring in. As you see here, we have that raster and the display is ugly. But then if you go to the windows, we get to the windows, we click on windows. The last window, we're going to review some of these windows that we have here. Jack already reviewed these ones at the top. We are here and we click on the image analysis window. So you see, this is a quick access to the properties and the rendering of your rasters. And there is a raster here in this data frame, and you have the same raster inside of your image analysis window. You click on it and enables some tools that you can right away you can use. There are the few options that you have here. There is the contrast, there is your transparency, right? You want to look transparency, make it overlap in this. So what you could do is then down here you have some the enable, because you only have one raster. I wanted to show you to this tool here, shaded relief. So instead of trying to figure out how you can do that, maybe several steps, creating the DVM, running through the hue shade, then running some other functions, and make the ranges and elevation ranges and drop it there. One click, and there you go. There you have it. There is the new relief that you can see what is the characteristics of the surface that you are using in this time. And it creates just a quick copy of that. So while we are working in here, you see that you want to, there is an option for you. Let's just select the raster. We don't want to do or work with this one here. So when you look at the bottom here, you have this function, add a function. So what this image analysis window is good for you, because it allows you to perform some operations without creating all the outputs. You remain in memory. Everything is working in your memory, not on disk, so you don't get the input output right into the disk. So if you want to add a function, you look at click in that button, you come over here and say, well, right click, identify the function. Well, let's right click on it. You want to insert, and let's just insert a hill shade. There's a hill shade function. Click on it. We know that these are the best settings and for your hill shade. We just just click in OK. Do the OK here, and we got ourselves a hill shade. And that just remains in memory. And after that, we select this. We create another function, and this time you're going to insert the function that is going to be slope. Just clicking here to get to the S, and there is this function. Click on that, and maybe you want to just to change something, the percent rise. You click in OK. We run it, and now you need to work on the symbology. How are we going to do that? You can jump into here, but maybe we can. You don't have to do that, Jack. So we are doing, that was this function, right click on it, go to the properties, and right away there you can get to the symbology. So all coming out from your image analysis window. Come over here, you right click on it, click on graphic view. Now you get the names, and we look for the one that, let's see, this is the aspect. Make sure that you point me out where we get to the slope. And there is one here. Click on it. We do the OK. And the other thing that you have to do is just work a little bit on your transparency, and you can start seeing your definition on the view of your image analysis window. So that's a quick review for you that you can work in here, analyze, visualize, render, without having to create too many outputs on this. So we can click this, and we can switch to, if you, function, no, that's the function of the shaded relief. We want to move into this. Oh, that's the alt. Shaded relief. We are using the same function. It didn't work yet. The alt, or clip on raster. There you go.
Right.
So clipping is is something probably difficult to accomplish, where you have the clip management, and then you need to know the the rectangle to do the clipping based on working with rasters. But in here, and also bring in the image analysis window. Again, we're going to bring it over here. We're going to keep it in here. And what you can do is just, you want to just have a view of the glacier that you have here. You click on your polygon, you go to the drawing, get a graphic, digitize a graphic of the area, that polygon of the area that you want to keep, that you want to bring with you. So create that. You select your image that you have in your image analysis window, and this tool, the first tool that you have here, is about clipping. Just click on it, and let's just dismiss this. Let's don't show this one here. And now be ready, because now you grab this, move it around, and there is your clip. So it's just overlapping, clipping to the graphic, very quick, and you don't have to provide your, obviously this raster is a rectangle. Everything that is not within the graphic is going to be no data. But that's the quick view that you can do this. Clipping rasters, and you can do it also with other features as well. You can do it with your vector data. But I wanted to show you this with the rasters. So we have that. There's another raster here that we can run here in a way that if we come to what we have here, you can write, you can create a custom tool, and you can create your a model that will calculate the NDVI with these rasters. So you have your model, you need to convert the input rasters into floating points and then feed that into the function, and you get the results. So what we do here is that we're going to close this, and we run it as a tool. Well, there are no parameters, we just want to run this. I hope it won't fail. And it did not. It did all the conversions and works fine, give you the succeeded. So the whole idea of why we run this is now because you run it from the model, not from as a tool. That was the purpose. Now you need to add that output that you have in the Alaska. There's your 13. You can bring it over here and build the pyramid, so speed up the process, and then you work on the symbology. But the whole purpose of doing this and running that model is because now you are so happy, and Jack is asking me from the other side of the world in Kamchatka, because we're in Alaska, he's in the other side, in Russia. He's a Russian, by the way. And so he wants the model, and they say, well, okay, Jack, I don't know how to send this to you, but let's see, we go to the results tool. Obviously, they are here. If you go to the Windows, that's your result. Oh, there's no results here, Jack. It's not in the Windows. You know where the results are?
Geoprocess.
Yeah, we go to the geoprocessing, and that's where you get the results window. When you click in this result, you can dock your results window anywhere, and there is your current session. You click on your current sessions, and there is your model. Now you right-click on the model, and you can share that as a geoprocessing package, or you can put it in the cloud as a geoprocessing service. So either way, you can do that. So we click in the geoprocessing package. Now here is going to go out to the folder. It's going to be the model, the GPK. You need to work a little bit on your tags and the how do they call these? Metadata. So we're just going to put here something that give you a tag. So it's going to be height, and the description is going to be this is font. And access constraints, credits, we're going to say you thank you. Thank you. That's for oops, I didn't want to do that. So that's it. So then you go ahead and analyze. You need to analyze and make sure that you don't get any errors. and therefore there are no items to show, there are no errors, we're ready to go, we close this analyzing window, and then you share it. It's working, it's preparing, it's packing, everything is done. We're clicking here, and now what we are going to do is to maybe just bring in, insert another data frame, so that we start from scratch. This is all new. We click that, go to the catalog, and you can see there's the model that you created. Drag and drop into here, and there is your tool. And so now is when you open it, run your tool, and it's the same tool that you have with. So now, Jack, I'm sending this to you, and you receive it there, and that's what we're sharing, not just layer package, map packages. Now you can share also your processing packages into that, right? And it's well, that's 246.
Yeah. We should wrap this up.
We should go there, and that's you, Jack.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate you sticking around with us. And if you haven't found it yet, on your mobile app there is an evaluation tool. We'd appreciate you evaluating the session. And thank you for coming to the conference. Jorge can answer some questions if anybody wants to come up. Myself, I have to escape because I have a presentation to do right away. So Jorge, I'm leaving it with you. I got to bail. I know I'm abandoning you. Yes, I am. All right.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Enjoy the